Hello everyone, top of the afternoon to you if I may. You join us in truly idyllic weather conditions here for round 5 of the Ferrari Challenge. We are in Spain, in Valencia at the Circuit Ricardo Tormo for the first race of our Trofeo Pirelli and Trofeo Pirelli AM competitors. So, Circuit Ricardo Tormo, so named, of course, after the two-time world champion Grand Prix motorcycle racer Ricardo Tormo. Here comes our official welcome to the Ferrari Challenge round. Love those graphics with the overall look at the circuit as well. I like the Valencia circuit because it's like in its own stadium environment, and it is round 5. It's the first of 2 rounds we have here in Spain, because from here we go to the Circuit de Catalunya in Barcelona, and then it's Spa-Francorchamps, then Mugello for the final rounds of this year's 2025 calendar, which has been certainly a hit. And, well, track temperature, you can see now, is egg frying worthy, 61 degrees. Air temperature 34 degrees. Temperature inside the 296 Challenge cars, whether Trofeo Pirelli or Trofeo Pirelli AM, is hot. The 296 Challenge cars, though, do feature AC, which works to a degree, and Jasin Ferati, young whippersnapper, is going to need some of that. Nico Spalek alongside me to keep his cool, I would say, from P1.
Well, I think all our drivers, good afternoon, will benefit from anything that is cool, that includes some covering from the sun we saw earlier on the other grid, some air being blown into the cars, because whatever, almost the heating would feel cooler than the air around. And certainly over a 30-minute plus 1 lap race, that's going to be an endurance test for our drivers. Fit as they are, it's a challenge.
Vincenzo Scarpetta, the Radici Automobili driver, goes from P3 on the grid. Felix Herziger, who has been so often P1 in every regard, is going from P2 on the grid, and Jasin Ferati, who we've already seen, goes from P1. So Felix Herziger then is really being protected in there in terms of trying to keep the heat off him. I'm trying to listen in to hear what's being said. Talking about tyre degradation, which is going to be... It's going to be huge, I would suggest, Nico, because the Pirelli tyres, which are supreme on the Ferrari Challenge cars. Now, Felix Herziger did minimum number of laps during qualifying to give him tyres in the race. It's going to be tricky. We have 2 categories racing in the same race. We have our Trofeo Pirelli drivers with the red strip across the top of the windscreen, and then we have our Trofeo Pirelli AM drivers with the white strip across the top of the windscreen, including our pole sitter in Trofeo Pirelli AM, which is Michael Verhagen. Done a good job in qualifying. Let's take a look back at what happened in the Czech Republic in Brno. So as the cars were released then, Felix Herziger, 1 or 2 losing door mirrors. Marco Zanazzi putting himself ahead of Hendrik Viol. And here you can see just what a great start it was from Michael Verhagen, having to try and go around the outside. 1 or 2 drivers finding themselves pointing in the wrong direction, including the likes of Michael Verhagen. Hanno Laskowski is always entertaining. Went through the gravel and the grass as it was a victory for Felix Herziger. For race 2, the weather conditions were altogether different. You can see the spray being thrown up from the cars. Trofeo Pirelli AM driver Michael Verhagen trying to do a job of going around the outside here, and did it. 1 or 2 cars coming together, including Henri Acide on the receiving end of that, and Felix Herziger having to work very, very hard against Vincenzo Scarpetta, and eventually losing out to Vincenzo Scarpetta, and number 33 car of Michael Verhagen and Hendrik Viol having a real ding-dong battle. Hendrik Viol, though, was able to seal the win in Trofeo Pirelli AM. We're 5 minutes away from the start of this Ferrari Challenge Trofeo Pirelli race, as we were looking back at what happened in Brno in the Czech Republic. It was nice to go back to Brno, Nico. I hadn't been there for a few years, a newly resurfaced track, and I know it's one of your favorites as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Had some great racing. The weather there, very unpredictable, not so here. And Hendrik Viol, we just saw take the win. He is leading the championship in the AMS, but didn't have it all his own way. P4 in class, and that means he's lining up right behind this man, Marco Zanazzi. Had a very, very quick Misano and a very, very good season overall.
This is Nobuhiro Imada. Now, Nobuhiro drives for Formula Racing, and he does a lot of racing in the Ferrari Challenge. Was at Fuji Speedway for the Ferrari Racing Days just last weekend. And Nobuhiro Imada, I think my memory is right, and he was a race winner in Fuji. He'll be hoping to do the same here. He's done a good job in qualifying. Hendrik Viol, then, we talked about just a few moments ago. He drives for the Scuderia Prague team. And there you can see it's like the reverse action vacuum cleaner, isn't it? I think they call them blowers, don't they? That's on Hendrik Viol right now, trying to keep him cool as much as he can. The Scuderia Prague driver then with a lap time of 1:32.843. I mean, it's almost unheard of to hear Hendrik Viol qualifying as lowly as P4, but that's what he did because it was Mikael Verhagen, Nobuhiro Imada. They were ahead of Marco Zanazzi and Hendrik Viol.
Ciao a tutti, sono Max Mugelli, pilota CDP Eureka Competition. Siamo qui sul fantastico circuito di Valencia, proprio sulla griglia di partenza. Un rettilineo lungo 876 metri dove sfruttiamo tutta la potenza della nostra fantastica vettura 296 Challenge per arrivare a affrontare la curva 1. La difficoltà della 1 è stare all'interno della linea bianca per evitare il track limit. Ovviamente sfruttiamo tutta l'accelerazione della nostra vettura. Per andare alla 2, frenata impegnativa, arriviamo sui 220 km/h. È molto facile, la macchina vada in sovrasterzo in ingresso di curva, dobbiamo tenerla perché è importantissimo l'uscita. Andare sul gas per sfruttare la potenza della 296 Challenge. Troviamo tra la 9 e la 10 una S difficile, veloce, dove qui in questo punto mettiamo più o meno la quinta sui 200 all'ora e soprattutto molto difficile la frenata lì sul cordolo perché la macchina ovviamente si scompone un po' sul posteriore, tende a scappare e noi chiaramente dobbiamo andare a prendere la corda della 11 per poi uscire in accelerazione. Ci troviamo probabilmente nel punto più difficile del tracciato, frenata della 14, arriviamo dalla 13 in piena accelerazione, considerate qui arriviamo sui 220 km/h, vedete la pendenza comunque di questa curva e quindi è molto difficile la frenata, è molto facile perdere il posteriore e perdere il punto di corda appunto della 14, curva fondamentale perché ci mette sul lungo rettilineo di 876 metri e quindi è importantissimo l'uscita in piena accelerazione. Abbiamo terminato il giro, adesso passiamo all'azione, emozioni Ferrari in pista.
Big up and thanks to Max Mugelli then for taking us on a high-speed walk around the Valencia circuit, which contains some 14 turns. 9 of them are left and 5 of them are right-handers. The circuit length is exactly 4 kilometers. And I have to say, I love the circuit because it affords great vantage points. Wherever you are on the circuit, you can see all the race action, which comes thick and fast across what I consider quite a technical one. So race start then and right on cue. The Richard Mills safety car will lead the cars away on their formation lap. Always a rolling start in the Ferrari Challenge. Enzo Trilli is back. Made his debut in the Ferrari Challenge one round ago, where he had 2 podiums, doing a great job, Enzo Trilli. He's got to do some overtaking because he's actually starting P5 in class, which is P9, because Nico, one of the peculiarities, if you like, of this brilliant Ferrari challenge is our Trofeo Pirelli and Pirelli Am drivers. They actually start where they qualified, whether they're Pirelli or Pirelli Am drivers. The grid is all mixed up.
Exactly, and we will go through the grid in just a few moments, and you will see red graphics indicate Pirelli drivers, white graphics indicate Pirelli Am drivers. So we will have one Pirelli drivers at the very back due to a grid drop, and here is the grid.
So Armin Arifpour goes from P21 on the grid. He indeed is white, therefore he is a Pirelli Am driver. P20 Otto Blank, P19 Matt Rosner. It's P18 for Angelo Fontana, and Herbert Guys, P17, will want to be doing some overtaking from there, as indeed will Andrew Morrow and Anders Bidstrup. Welcome back to the Ferrari Challenge. The Bidstrup brothers, Jakob being the other one of them, going from P14, Hanno Laskowski from P13. Danilo Del Fabro and David Gostner on the 6th row of our Ferrari Challenge grid before we get to our Pirelli drivers, Henri Acide and Enzo Trulli. They have Hendrik Viol, Pirelli Am driver, ahead of them, and Max Mugelli as well, going from P7 on the grid. Marco Zanassi and Nobuhiro Imada, they occupy the 3rd row, and the 2nd row is occupied by one Pirelli driver, Vincenzo Scarpetta, and Michael Verhagen, an Am driver, Felix Herziger, and Jasin Ferati with his pole position. They go from row 1.
Yeah. Our graphics indicate that Jill Renman may start from the back of the grid, so we will see and have an eye on that.
Thank you, Nico. Let's hear from our pole sitter now, Jasin Ferati.
First pole of the season, feels really good. I think for the race it will be another story, not that easy I think, but anyways we will try to do our best. It will be really hot. I think it will be also for the drivers really difficult, but we will do our best and we know what we have to do for the race.
Thank you, Jasin, who's accompanied by an oil can being thrown on the floor. You may have heard that big din right in the middle of us talking to Jasin Ferati. I think he's right. I think it's going to be hard. And Felix Herziger, he knows that with the conditions the way they are in terms of temperature and track conditions, his best opportunity at wrestling away that P-run from Jasin Ferati is probably going to come right at the start of the race.
Yeah, absolutely. And there you can see row 5 is just one car as it seems right now. So unless Henri Acide goes back. Anyway, ready for the start.
So Jasin Ferati and Felix Herziger, Vincenzo Scarpetta looking very lively then. The lights on at the top of the gantry. As the lights go out, I'm not absolutely sure that was a clean and tidy start, to be honest. Into turn number 1 they go then, and Jasin Ferati, Nobuhiro Imada on the inside of Marco Zanassi goes through, and Felix Herziger trying to get to the inside of Jasin Ferati is not able to do so. Nobuhiro Imada is on a real charge here and makes contact with the Michael Verhagen car, but I think he's going to go through as well. And he is now tagged by Marco Zanazzi, and Nobuhiro Imada goes round and he's facing the wrong direction with all the cars having to take avoiding action. Credit to all the drivers who were able to do so.
Yeah, absolutely, and great move, but then a little bit unfortunate. Felix Herziger the same great speed at the beginning, but being stuck behind Ferrati allowed Scarpetta to go through, and that reshuffles the order quite a little bit. And indeed, Jill Renman has started from the pit lane and therefore has joined the race at the end of the crocodile.
So it is Ferrati from Scarpetta, then Herziger, then it's Verhagen, Zanassi and Viola with the top 3 for Pirelli Am. And well, Nobuhiro Imada has jumped right to the back of the pack now, having made so many good moves right at the start of the race. He got tagged by Nobuhiro, got tagged rather by Marco Zanassi. That sent him around. Here's Henri Acide behind Hanno Laskowski. The start is under investigation. I'm not surprised by that, Nico, because the cars have to go through their grid boxes, and I'm not sure they all did that.
Yeah, no, fully agreed, and we will surely get a replay of that in but a few minutes when everything has sorted on the track, and then we can pick the bones out of that. But leading after 1 lap is Jasin Ferati in Pirelli, Michael Verhagen, Marco Zanazzi, Hendrik Viola, our top 3 in the AMs. Vincenzo Scarpetta, race winner in race 2 in Brno, running 2nd.
A number of drivers have made up a number of places. Andrew Morrow has made up 6 places. Hanno Laskowski has made up 5 places, Nico. And yeah, great job being done by some of those AM drivers. So start is under investigation, as we mentioned, and it is Jasin Ferati from Vincenzo Scarpetta and Felix Herziger. They are the top 3 Pirelli drivers. The AM drivers, Verhagen, Zanassi and Hendrik Viol, as we have 27.5 minutes plus 1 lap of the race remaining. We've only just opened the race, and there's a lot that will potentially happen between now and the end of it. So there's Hendrik Viol. He's got Max Mugelli right behind him now. Max Mugelli is a Pirelli driver, so Hendrik Viol being protected a little bit by a Pirelli driver between himself and Hanno Laskowski, who is running P4. Here's Nobuhiro Imada then into the garage. He's got a puncture, I think. Engine is turned off, door is open. Nobuhiro Imada, just last weekend, race winner in Fuji, the Fuji Speedway. And I think, and I fear, Nico, that might be the end of his race.
Well, definitely the end of his chance for a top improvement. Got a P4 this season, otherwise it's been P9s and P11. So P2 on the grid would have been a great position and great opportunity to get his first podium here in Europe. Obviously, as you said, different story in Japan, but very unfortunate start, especially as he showed so much great pace in the first few corners. And good to see that he is exiting pit lane once again, but obviously his race royally compromised.
Nico, we're going to see a potential, not a potential, a jump start from Hendrik Viol, who is going to pick up a penalty. So race control have adjudged that Hendrik Viol jumped the start and is going to pick up a drive-through penalty. Now, it's kind of a mixed message because we're getting incorrect starting alignment, which led to a jump start for Hendrik Viol. We'll see that on screen in just a moment. You can see the number 9 car that we were watching just then is the Danilo Del Favaro car, and that's Nobuhiro having gone around. And look at this. How did everyone avoid Nobuhiro Imada? See it from being on board here, Nico.
Yeah, and there is certainly contact between Nobuhiro Imada and Marco Zanazzi. And now, depending on race control calls, it might be that our number 2 and number 3 drivers in the AMS will have their races compromised by penalties. But for now, that is just an assumption or a possibility. Michael Verhagen, anyway, leading in the AMS, and Jasin Ferati leading the race outright. And Felix Hilziger hasn't been able to get on terms with Vincenzo Scarpetta after being overtaken and actually runs afoul of the track limits there. So he has to be careful, and it's exactly that turn number 1 which Max Mugelli pointed out as one of the treacherous ones.
Here is confirmation from race control. Car number 92, a drive-through penalty. Incorrect starting alignment means he effectively jumped the start. Hendrik Viol, who I have to say, Nico, in the years that we've known him to be racing, one of the cleanest and tidiest drivers, you know, but race control have access to so much data and so many different camera angles. And Ferrari factory driver Thomas Neubauer, I know, is in race control as well. He sees it from a driver's eye perspective as well. They believe Hendrik Viol got an advantage, and therefore he gets a drive-through penalty. But he's not the only driver that's going to get a drive-through penalty. You alluded to the fact that Marco Zanazzi's contact on Nobuhiro Imada would be looked at by race control. Now, we've not seen that yet. We see it right now. He picks up a drive-through penalty, so that means that P2 and P3 in the Trofeo Pirelli AM race, Nico, have both got to serve drive-through penalties.
Yeah, that will elevate Hanno Laskowski and Andrew Morrow into provisional podium positions, with Danilo Del Favaro just half a second off that. It also means that Michael Verhagen will have a country mile of an advantage almost.
Zanazzi has dived into the pit lane already. Here is Jasin Ferati, who I have to say is doing a very good job out front. He's built up a margin of 1.8 seconds over Vincenzo Scarpetta. Here is Marco Zanazzi then, serving his drive-through penalty. I have to say, he did make contact with Nobuhiro Imada. It certainly would not have been malicious. It was just one of those things. But Nobuhiro's race has been ruined, and dare I say it, so too now potentially has Marco Zanazzi's.
Yeah, although we've seen drivers making incredible recoveries in recent years and seasons, as we go on board with Enzo Trulli running in P11.
That's Otto Blank.
Yeah, Otto Blank showing in the pit lane, and they're looking at his car. Maybe there was contact that we didn't pick up.
Possibly.
Obviously also for him, not a good sign, as David Gosler is involved in a battle there.
David Gosler just taking a look at the inside of the Anders Bidstrup car. It's good to see Anders Bidstrup and Jakob Bidstrup back racing in the Ferrari Challenge, and welcome return to them, having a battle with David Gosler, as you mentioned. So we pick up here as Andrew Morrow then is leading Danilo Del Favaro. Now that is P4 in class, but it will become net P3 in class when Hendrik Viol comes in to serve his drive-through penalty, Nico, which was a point you were making. But Danilo Del Favaro is all over the back of the RPM PRM car of Andrew Morrow, like a sweaty shirt, I'm tempted to say.
Yes, or similar metaphors, as Hendrik Viol is taking his drive-through penalty, and yeah, obviously that changes the face of the race. Michael Verhagen in the AMS now with 9 seconds of an advantage over everybody else in class, as he's mixing it up with our front runners overall. There you can see him at the back of this pack of 4 cars, and that includes an AM driver, which is a back marking car.
Yes.
That is Otto Blank, the returning Otto Blank, the white, blue and red car, and I think he's now allowing Verhagen through, and does that clean, tidy and very fair.
Yeah, Otto Blank is, yes, as you say, he's had a visit through the pit lane, and therefore is effectively a back marking driver. So they're the number 33 car that we watch of Michael Verhagen. Jasin Ferati, his lead, Nico, has stretched to just over 3 seconds now over Vincenzo Scarpetta. So good job being done by Jasin Ferati. He said by his own admission it was going to be difficult in the race because it is going to be so hot. He's taken his first pole position, and we have 20.5 minutes plus 1 lap remaining. You can see it's palpable there, the gap between P1 and P2. Then it is Felix Herziger running P3. The best of the AM drivers is Michael Verhagen for Ferrari Warsaw, who is ahead of Hanno Laskowski and Andrew Morrow. They are now P2 and P3 by dint of the 2 drivers that have had to take drive-through penalties, Nico. That has advantaged those 2 into provisional podium places.
Indeed, Gilles Renman, who, remember, started from the pit lane, has come up the order, has already improved 7 positions. But obviously still far away from our front runners in Pirelli, and you know that's a tough ask to move into a very, very good front running position. Michael Verhagen has that position in class, and you know, no drop off towards the top of the Pirelli class.
Just keeping an eye on track limits, which we always knew would be a potential problem with the track temperature so high, and tyre deg is going to be high as well, Nico, which means that the grip afforded to the drivers come the end of the race is not going to be as great as it was at the start of the race, and therefore it becomes ever more difficult to keep the cars within the white lines. And Felix Herziger, Nico, is on 2 track limits warnings. Vincenzo Scarpetta is under 1. We have a couple of drivers on 3, Armin Arifpour and Angelo Fontana. They're running further down the order, as now increasing the margin. It was 3.8 seconds between P1 and P2. It's now 3.9 seconds. So Jasin Ferati just getting his head down, Nico, and doing a good job. And if everything were to finish right now with a checkered flag, the live championship in Trofeo Pirelli, you can see it would be Felix Herziger ahead of Jasin Ferati and Vincenzo Scarpetta.
Yeah, absolutely. And Vincenzo Scarpetta was the one who managed to snap the winning streak of Felix Herziger with a amazing drive back in Brno. Now he's slowly falling back into the clutches of Felix Herziger. So that it's going to be interesting how that develops, as we get indication of a penalty for the number 88 car of Armin Arifpour for track limit. So that is our first track limit penalty.
Just looking at the graphics on the left-hand side of the screen, Nico, it would appear that Danilo Del Favaro has lost out to Herbert Guys. Herbert Guys has moved up to P4 in class in Trofeo Pirelli AM. And that plays into the hands of Andrew Morrow, who has now got Enzo Trulli between himself and the next challenging Trofeo Pirelli AM driver. So that provisional podium for Andrew Morrow he has a cushion of a Trofeo Pirelli car between himself and the next challenging AM driver. Turn 14 is where we are now with Vincenzo Scarpetta then. Through turn 14, the car really sliding, Nico, through turn 14. So I wonder whether Vincenzo taking a little bit more out of his tyres, arguably, than Felix Herziger, whether that will play into the hands of Felix Herziger over the second half of the race. We have 17 minutes plus a lap remaining of this race, and there is Felix Herziger, who I think is getting just a little bit close to Vincenzo Scarpetta.
Yeah, both of those drivers running on 2-track limit warnings, as Angelo Fontana has received his 4th warning, and that carries a 5-second penalty. He's also in the pit lane, so his race not going well one way or the other. But indeed, this battle is heating up, and again, Michael Verhagen, AM driver, keeping with this battle, doesn't have to get involved in it, but certainly showing his pace today in this afternoon in the heat here in Valencia, as this battle for P2 is starting to heat up, if that's even possible.
So there is the number 33 car of Michael Verhagen. The Ferrari Warsaw driver, who, as Nico quite rightly points out, is on terms with the Trofeo Pirelli drivers. Michael is a Pirelli AM driver, but he's certainly as quick as the Pirelli drivers ahead. Felix Herziger definitely quicker than Vincenzo Scarpetta now. But it's all very well being as quick as the car, or even quicker than the car in front of you. You've got to find a way by. And actually on this quite technical circuit here, it's not so easy to do that. Through the speed cam they go. I love that flip-flop camera where it shows you the speed, both approaching and having gone by. Vincenzo Scarpetta, though, despite the pressure from Felix Herziger, is not one for making mistakes at the moment, and does run a bit wide there, and is going to need to be careful with regards to track limits, because he only needs one more, Nico, and then he will be on the, if you like, toll-free limit of 3.
Yeah, absolutely. And you said overtaking is very difficult on this circuit, but it's absolutely true. Once your tires start to really go off, that's where you become vulnerable. So tire preservation absolutely paramount, while not allowing the car behind you to go by. So it's always a trade-off. It's always trying to maximize what you can do without overstressing your Pirelli P0s. And thus far, no indication that either of them is struggling significantly more than the other.
No, I think that's a very fair analysis. The order for Trofeo Pirelli AM on the left-hand side of your screen, you can see it's Michael Verhagen from Hanno Laskowski and Andrew Morrow. And in the live championship, it would be, if it all finished like this right now, Hendrik Viol on 97 points, exactly 10 ahead of Marco Zanazzi, and then Michael Verhagen, exactly 10 in P3. As we have double yellow at turn 3, Nico. So strife at turn 3 for somebody. And we'll pick that up, I'm sure, as to what's happened there, or whether that yellow flag gets rescinded. It's one of the Bidstrups having gone around, I would say, Nico. And it is Anders Bidstrup, the Formula Racing driver, who is slow, isn't he? So we'll see what has, we'll see if we can make any analysis of what happened to said Bidstrup, as Felix Herziger continues to really put the pressure on Vincenzo Scarpetta, who is soaking it up thus far. Oh, and there, great driving from, you can see, from the stricken car, keeping it well out of the way of those drivers that are getting around this track as fast as their 296 Challenge cars and the Pirelli tyres will allow.
Absolutely, and Jasin Ferati will be praying for no safety car, because with almost 7 seconds to the good of everybody else, if a safety car were required to rescue and recover the Anders Bidstrup car, that would obviously eliminate all the gap that he had accumulated.
It's going from bad to worse for Marco Zanazzi, Nico, who's now running P16 in the race overall. I am being told in my ears that he's now going to get a time penalty of 5 seconds for track limit. So as he pushes really hard to make up following his drive-through penalty, he's exceeded the track limits too many times and has picked up a time penalty. So Marco Zanassi having a torrid time of it in the race. 12.5 minutes plus a lap then as the cars head down the start-finish straight. I say down because it is quite a downhill start-finish straight into that turn number 1, which carries so much speed into turn 1. There's David Gosner, I believe. Indeed so, and Herbert Geis trying to chase him down. But David Gosner getting a little bit closer to the number 34 car that we ride on board with now, which is the Radici Automobili Zanassi Racing Team and young Enzo Trulli. Hanno Laskowski has moved up 7 places. Andrew Morrow has moved up 8 places. Herbert Geis, Nico, has moved up 6 places. Big movements in some of the Trofeo Pirelli cars in particular. A lot of that advantaged by drive-through penalties, though.
Yeah, that's fair. Enzo Trulli now, he has Andrew Morrow in his target size. Now, if David Gosner can somehow stick with Enzo Trulli, he would like to stay in the draft and try and get on terms with Andrew Morrow, because that would potentially put him in a position where he can fight for a podium. And there in the background behind Enzo Trulli was David Gosner. So Andrew Morrow is kind of maybe well advised to just let Enzo Trulli pass without David Gosner coming back into the mix. But on the other hand, he would really love to have that cushion between himself and the next driver in his class.
We're being told by the Emil Frey team that Jasin Ferrati's car is performing well. The tyres are holding up well. And they're just telling Jasin to remain cool, calm, collected, and keep it clean and tidy. And don't stress anything too much. And that's precisely what Jasin Ferati is doing, with a margin of 8 seconds over Vincenzo Scarpetta and then Felix Herziger. The 2 fastest laps, unsurprisingly, come from Jasin Ferati and Michael Verhagen. So the penalties, the red bars you can see in the graphics on the right-hand side, or you could just a moment ago. We'll bring them back to you in just a few moments, but we're looking at Trofeo Pirelli at the moment, which is led by Jasin Ferati from Vincenzo Scarpetta. Then this man sent a picture, Felix Herziger. And then the number 33 car is driven by Michael Verhagen. He is an AM driver. And there you can see the red bars on the end of the graphics indicate penalties for Marco Zanassi, Armin Arifpour, and also for Angelo Fontana.
Well, there's the Anders Spitzgrup car, who has nursed the car back into the pit lane, so no yellow flags around the track anymore, which with 10 minutes remaining means we have green flag conditions all around the track.
Being told that it might be a gearbox sensor issue potentially. Whatever it is, the team are working hard on the car, as you can see from the split screen. Mikkel Verhagen, Hanno Laskowski, Andrew Morrow. If everything were to stay the way it is right now, it would be the second podium for Hanno Laskowski. For Andrew Morrow, it would be another podium. He did take a race win at the opening round of the season in class. So another lap put in the book right now. Love that sound. Woof, 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 as the cars go by. I'm not doing a dog impression. But that's how they sound as they go past our speed camera, which is, I mean, the speed of these 296 Challenge cars is awesome. The Emil Frey Racing driver, Hanno Laskowski, doing very well here. I mean, it's good for Emil Frey Racing because they're P1 in Pirelli, Nico, and they're P2 in Pirelli AM.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've extolled the virtues of the Swiss team many times, and for good reason. And Hanno Laskowski, entertainer that he is keeping it nice and tidy on the track today. There is Andrew Morrow, there is Enzo Trulli. Lurking behind Enzo Trulli, there in shot is David Gosner. So the battle for the podium in the Pirelli AMs is far from over. And you know, for Andrew Morrow, it's really strategically difficult. How do I play this? Do I just let Enzo Trulli by and try to stay with him? Which, however, would put me right into the vision of David Gosner. On the other hand, if I hold up Enzo Trulli, once he gets by, David Gosner will be there right with him. Difficult call. It is a difficult call.
Andrew's a pretty cool, calm, collected character. Yeah, it just seems to have everything completely under control. Whatever his decision, we can tell from the language of the car that he's making his own decision, Nico, and that's what he's sticking with. Not that he would listen to us, were he even able to, I feel sure. So 7.75 minutes plus a lap as Jasin Ferati puts another one in the book and extends his lead now to just over 10 seconds between P1 and P2. P2 occupied by Vincenzo Scarpetta, P3 from Felix Herziger. There is Andrew Morrow, and there you can see David Gosner, who's desperate to get by Enzo Trulli in his own right. Because if David Gosner could get by Enzo Trulli, who we ride on board with right now, it would give David Gosner the target sights of Andrew Morrow and a potential podium for David Gosner.
Absolutely. Our timing screen indicates that Danilo Del Favaro is dropping down the order, has lost quite a bit of time in the last sector, something like 15 seconds, but he has finished the lap, so whatever happened there, we will surely get a replay of that. Jasin Ferati, you said it, 11 seconds now to the good with 6.5 minutes remaining. He could have a nice cocktail, alcohol-free of course, but and a relaxing time on the beach. Such is his gap. And the only thing he doesn't really want is a safety car.
So what happened to Danilo Del Favaro? Well, it was kicking up too much curb, and it was a high-speed spin for Danilo Del Favaro. The gravel trap doing its job, and thankfully Danilo not spinning the rear wheels and bogging the car down into the gravel trap. He was able to get it going again. So credit to Danilo for not causing a race suspension and potentially a safety car, because he could have done there.
Yeah, absolutely. Emil Fry Racing and Jasin Ferati certainly jolly glad about that, not causing a red flag, as Max Mugelli has now overtaken Michael Verhagen, which is academic in terms of points for Michael Verhagen, because Max Mugelli obviously a Pirelli driver, but that naturally puts Max Mugelli right behind Felix Herziger, and all of a sudden that podium, which seemed at least fairly assured for Herziger, might be under threat by a Max Mugelli.
Max Mugelli, who gave us his track guide right at the beginning of our program this afternoon, you may recall, you can actually almost feel the rumble strips through the through your television speakers. Max Mugelli gives it everything he can now, and there is very much a target on the back, I would suggest, of Felix Herziger now, as Max Mugelli is looking for a podium here. And for Max Mugelli, it would be his second podium of the season. I seem to recall he took P3 in the second race at Brno just a couple of weeks ago, and Max Mugelli would like to be back on the podium again, and that's how close he's getting to Felix Herziger. All of this, of course, is playing nicely into the hands of Vincenzo Scarpetta, because Felix Herziger is having to think about what Mugelli is doing behind him, and therefore that's allowing Scarpetta to get up the road a bit.
Absolutely. Now, Max Mugelli overtaking Verhagen means that Hanno Laskowski is technically behind Michael Verhagen for P1 in the amps, but there is a 9-second gap between them, so safe for a safety car. I think that is a safe margin. There you can see that bundle of three Pirelli drivers battling for 2 podium positions, certainly heating up with 4 minutes and 20 seconds remaining.
So we ride on board with the CDP Eureka competition driver Max Mugelli. He takes a wide line into this turn, hoping to get something of a slingshot out, carry a bit more momentum. Double apex, looks at the inside. This is almost psychologically just to worry Felix Herziger ahead of him. Loving being on board with Max Mugelli here. Just see a little bit of harmless high cloud there as well. It's the first bit of cloud we've seen all day today. The temperature's absolutely blistering here in Valencia. So now this long left-hander where you're running downhill as well, it almost encourages the car out. Max Mugelli much tighter than Felix Herziger. So Mugelli is definitely quicker, I would say, Nico, than Herziger. But he's got to find a way by, and that's not going to be easy.
No, absolutely not. One might think that it might pressure or push Felix Herziger into trying to attack Vincenzo Scarpetta for his own self-preservation almost. But having to defend has meant that Vincenzo Scarpetta has been able to get up the road. So he is breathing easy for the first time in quite some time. Although now that I say that, Herziger has reeled him back in a little bit.
Yes, I think you're right. this is going to run all the way to the checkered flag, I feel sure. Just in case you're interested, Jasin Ferati, who's leading the race, is best part 14 seconds up the road now, and as we speak, he's between turns 5 and 6, checking his emails. That's how far up ahead he is. I jest, of course. But Max Mugelli now to the inside of Felix Herziger, almost. There is no doubt about it, Nico, that the grip that Max Mugelli has got is superior to that of Felix Herziger. You can see the Felix car sliding around a bit here, whereas Max Mugelli seems to be altogether a bit more assured. Would you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. And the advantage that Max Mugelli has is that he has no track limit infractions, where Felix Herziger is up to 2 already, so he has to be a little bit careful. Only 2 more minutes remaining, and Felix Herziger good defensive driving. As Vincenzo Scarpetta is moving a little bit up the road, and behind them, Michael Verhagen kind of doesn't want to have anything to do with it, but needs to be careful not to be caught should the 2 in front of him have it coming together.
That's a very fair point. So we watch from the various different camera angles then as Max continues to pressure Felix Herziger down through the gearbox. Mugelli is on it now. Drag race into turn number 1, but Felix Herziger gets away well. And it's now you'd have to try and thrust the car to the inside line to try and get a move going into turn number 1. And I don't think Max is quite close enough to be able to try a lunge up the inside. So we've got the remainder of this lap plus 1 more, I think, if my calculations are correct in terms of the race duration, with 50 seconds plus a lap remaining. But still Mugelli pushing and pushing hard on the brakes. Great to hear the 296 power plant, all 700 horses of it, as near as makes no difference, running really, really well. Jasin Ferati, 15 seconds to the good in the lead, ahead of Vincenzo Scarpetta and Felix Herziger. Max Mugelli running a bit wide then. Live championship points, 112 for Felix Herziger, 105 for Jasin Ferati. Vincenzo Scarpetta on 78. That would all shape up nicely for the final run in our 2025 season, the Trofeo Pirelli classification and championship, as it was, if it all stays the way it is at the moment. But the one thing to expect with the Ferrari challenge is, of course, the unexpected. So Mugelli all over the back of Felix Herziger. Herziger seeming low, soaking up the pressure. Max could not take a wider line there than if he had tried hard. Surely he's close enough now to get the slipstream off the back of the Herziger car, but Felix Herziger protects the inside line, Nico. Now he places it to the inside of the track to give him as much momentum through turns 1 and 2 as possible. There was definitely a move on there from Max Mugelli, and we stay on board, and Mugelli does go through on the inside now. In fairness, racing room is given to him by Felix Herziger. Mugelli, I think maybe his first attempt was going to be down the start-finish straight. Felix blocked that. So Max, whether he was selling him a little dummy, but whatever he did, his many, many years of racing experience, did it pay off as Felix Herziger has gone by again? It's another switchback. We've seen some switchbacks in Ferrari Challenge today. We're on the final lap, side by side they go. This is for P3 in Ferrari Challenge Trofeo Pirelli, as Mugelli goes back ahead of Felix Herziger now.
Almost looked intentional by Herziger. I didn't see whether Herziger did anything that would demand a change of position, but it almost looked intentional for him. Not sure, but certainly Max Mugelli back in P2, and I think the initial overtake, he made that so clever, used all his experience by running wide into the final turn.
Here comes Jasin Ferati to celebrate his first victory in Ferrari Challenge Trofeo Pirelli. He takes the checkered flag. Well done, Jasin Ferati. Bravo, bravo from the Emil Frey team then. And what a battle it's been for P2 and P3. But it is going to be Max Mugelli, as Nico says, using all his years of racing experience, who will take P3. Vincenzo Scarpetta P2. Felix Herziger, unbelievably not in a podium place. And Michael Verhagen ahead of Hanno Laskowski and Andrew Morrow. They're the top three in Trofeo Pirelli Am. Wow, Nico, it all livened up right at the end of the race, did it not?
Absolutely, and going back to the Max Mugelli overtake, he had no track limit infractions, and you could see it from on board. He ran wide into that final turn, so effectively cashed in one of his available track limit infractions.
Yes.
And he actually got one for that.
Yeah, which would be right, wouldn't it?
And
so he should get that penalty.
Exactly, but that allowed him to take some extra momentum. I mean, that is my interpretation. I don't want to put him in any hot water or anything, but that was, if that is what he did intentionally, that was supreme clever racing.
Well, he's wise, old, no. He's, so where did, I'm intrigued by this. So Max sets it up initially.
That's already the switch of positions, the final time.
Why do you think, I mean, I think you're right. I think it looked like the position was given back, wasn't it?
It looked like it. I have no explanation for it, but it certainly looked like Hirziger didn't have full power at that moment, intentional or not, but yeah. What a race at the end. Jasin Ferati said it wouldn't be easy in the race.
Well, he made it look easy, didn't he?
He absolutely did. Vincenzo Scarpetta held off Felix Hirziger for most of the race and finished in P2, and then Max Mugelli. 2 podiums on the bounce for Max Mugelli.
Well done, Max. That was certainly one of the moves of the day, I feel sure. Really, really interesting. There is Jasin Ferati. Many would argue, Nico, it's been a long time coming. I mean, there have been some rookie errors from Jasin over the season so far, and I think he would be the first to admit that as well.
Yeah, for sure. But made no mistake, made it stick at the very beginning of the race. Vincenzo Scarpetta, maybe as a cushion between himself and Felix Hirziger, but 17 seconds. That's a statement. It is a statement, and it's a fairly definitive one as well, that's for sure, as the car's coming into the Parc Ferme area. One of the happiest is going to be Max Mugelli, who's congratulated by Sarah, his daughter, and Tina, of course, his partner. Yeah, well done indeed. Here is Jasin Ferati, though, Nico. The revs the engine to its limits in celebration and jumps out of the car. Will he be on the roof? No. Well done, Jasin. I don't know what I say. Not on the roof, on the engine here, however.
Oh, as if prompted. Steady on, Jasin. Many congratulations, richly deserved. I love to see all those celebrations. It's what it's all about, isn't it? The emotions that you have. Sometimes they're emotional highs, sometimes there are emotional lows, Nico. Here's confirmation of the result. Jasin Ferati from Vincenzo Scarpetta. Max Mugelli, Felix Hirziger, Henry Osseed, Enzo Trilli, Gilles Renman, then the Trofeo Pirelli classification. That's the way it looks. And for our Trofeo Pirelli Am drivers, we'll bring that to you as well, of course. Taking P1, Michael Verhagen ahead of Hanno Laskowski and Andrew Morrow. Then it was David Gosner, Hendrik Viol, Herbert Geiss, Jakob Bidstrup, and Marco Zanazzi ends up banking a P8. Ahead of Danilo Del Favero, Matt Rosner, Armin Arifpour, and Nobuhiro Imada. Regrettably, NCs for Angelo Fontana, Anders Bidstrup, and for Otto Blank.
And there is the car that propelled Jasin Ferati to his victory.
Indeed so. And we're going to be hearing from Jasin Ferati in just a moment. He will be interrogated, is that the right word, by our reporter down there, Ludovica. So Jasin Ferati, many congratulations. P1 for Emil Frey Racing.
Wow, Jasin, congratulations, a very perfect day for you. Today, I want to discover with you what was the step and improvement that you made with your team compared to the others round.
Yeah, we knew from the beginning that we had to work hard. We finally found the secret, what it was. I think I will not tell you that, but I think that was necessary to be where we are now. And I think with this improvement, we will see us more in this position.
Thank you.
Thank you.
They've found something, Nico. They've found something that almost indicated that maybe it was set up or something.
Well, certainly laying down the gauntlet for the rest of the season.
Right, here come the highlights then for Ferrari Challenge, Trofeo Pirelli and Pirelli Am then. And, well, Felix Erziger trying to go around the outside. Nobuhiro Imada was absolutely determined to put himself ahead of Marco Zanazzi and did that very well and put himself to the inside of Hendrik Viol. But then Marco Zanazzi made contact with Nobuhiro Imada, and that sent Nobuhiro Imada around. David Gosner was in the middle of something of a sandwich here, and there you can see the number 51 car of Jakob Bidstrup going around and Nobuhiro Imada going through. The highlights here of Ferrari Challenge, Trofeo Pirelli and Pirelli Am as Hendrik Viol tries to make his way up the order, and Nobuhiro Imada also doing the same, having got past the Matt Rosner car. So Jasin Ferati, who was really stretching his legs out front in Ferrari Challenge Trofeo Pirelli, and Marco Zanazzi here was advantaged by two cars going wide there and basically put himself ahead of both the 42 and 51 cars. Great driving. Now, this was the overtake of the day, in my opinion, as Max Mugelli put himself ahead of Felix Erziger, and that would be for a podium place. No mistake in our race winner, though, Jasin Ferati for Ferrari Challenge Trofeo Pirelli, and for our Trofeo Pirelli Am drivers, it would be Michael Verhagen, who would head towards the checkered flag to take the Pirelli Am win. Really exciting racing from Ferrari Challenge, and Jasin Ferati certainly very happy with that win. So, Ferrari Challenge Trofeo Pirelli Am winner is Michael Verhagen. Let's hear from him right now.
Michael, congratulations. You made a very clear and perfect race after a very good pole position. So I want to discover with you your time management.
Yeah, the podium at the highest rank is of course what we wanted. It's quite hot, so the only thing what you had to do is manage the tires, don't over push. Yeah, it went quite good. Yeah, I got the pros behind me and in front of me. So yeah, I just didn't have any battles, so I just keep them up and yeah, try to save the tires. And at the end, I think even faster than the cars in front of me, but no risk and take the points, and because we need it. So yeah, I hope to do the same tomorrow.
Thank you for your time and congratulations.
Thank you.
I think he's right. I think he was faster, perhaps, than the Trofeo Pirelli drivers. Well done, Mikhail. Great to hear from you. In the race statistics then, as you can see, best progress, Max Mugelli with 4 positions moved, and Andrew Morrow with 8 positions moved. So well done to those drivers, the statistics there. And, of course, we will be heading up to the podium very, very soon. And celebrating 2 podiums with Trofeo Pirelli and, of course, Trofeo Pirelli Am. So the podium is readied, as you can see, and we will be inviting our Trofeo Pirelli drivers onto the podium for the first time. And here's Michele Mambelli to bring us the drivers.
On the podium, Max Mugelli. Second on the podium, Vincenzo Scarpetta. Segundo clasificado, Vincenzo Scarpetta. And the winner is one, Jasin Ferati. Il vencedor del trofeo Pirelli, Jasin Ferati. Sul podio, on the podium, team manager Emil Frey Racing.
So there they have it then. Of course, Emil Frey Racing represented as well. Baseball caps off, here comes the national anthem. So the anthem plays out then. So trophy presentations right now. So from the circuit, Ricardo Tormo. The trophies are presented first of all to P3, then to P2. Well done, Vincenzo.
And the trophy for the winner, Jasin Ferati.
Jasin Ferati then in receipt of his trophy.
And now the trophy for the team manager, Emil Frey Racing.
Of course, Emil Frey Racing get the Copa Team trophy.
And now the Pirelli trophy, Fabio Lo Monaco Pirelli Motorsport for Jasin Ferati.
And Pirelli Motorsport trophy also to be presented. And Jasin receives that trophy as well.
Please, all drivers on the first step of the podium with the guests on the podium for using imaging from Ricardo Tormo circuit, Valencia circuit.
Great photographs.
El momento de la fotografía, pero recuerdo y ahora ya.
And the champagne race.
It was a dead heat, I want to say. That was very, very close.
Okay, well, you called that better than I could have done. Max Mugelli is delighted with his P3. The driver of the number 90 car for Radici Automobili is Vincenzo Scarpetta. And as I've said many times before, Emil Frey Racing know a thing or two about engineering a race-winning car-driver combo, and they've done it with Jasin Ferati. In the Trofeo Pirelli, the Drivers' Championship, Felix Herziger P1, Jasin Ferati P2. Difference is 4 points only. Vincenzo Scarpetta P3, then it's Gilles Renmans, Max Mugelli, Henri Acid, Quinn Veitlisbach and Enzo Trulli, who moves up 2 places incidentally. Then Dylan Medler, who of course is racing in Indianapolis this weekend, Björn Grossman, Luigi Coluccio.